So AH is trying to silence witnesses, suppressing their deposition, as well as multiple other filings that would tell the entire story of what led to Virginia 2022 and JD's win. Yeah, this is the same person that said time and again all they wanted was for the truth to be out there. Yeah, as Paul Stanley from KISS noted right after JD won, you defeat lies with truth, not gags. Now you and we're going to talk about this and so much more today too, and if you would, share this everywhere, tell everyone what's happening, because it cannot be allowed to go silent. Yeah, this stuff, it is crazy, huh? Fun times indeed. So, hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. Forgive the hoarseness of my voice. It's a little under the weather. I'm not sick. It's just allergy season. It'll clear up in a couple of days. But the document that you're looking at here, this is a notice of filing. Essentially, you have AH telling us she is going to file her appeal. And what's really telling about this are the document that she's using in it, particularly those that she's going to file under seal, aka she's going to include them in the narrative, but you're not allowed to see them. Now, we'll look at everything that she wants to file under seal in just a second, but if you want to know why this is important, look at JD's words, the person that brought this to the court in the first place. He said this on June 1st, 2022, right after he had won. I mean, listen to this. I'm not going to say all of it here, but look at how this plays out. He noted, false, various serious and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought against me. It had already traveled around the world twice in a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on my life and my career. 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I'm truly humbled. From the very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth, regardless of any outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owe to my children and to all of those who remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing I have finally accomplished that. See, that's the word that came up again and again when you talk to sources surrounding JD. Take Adam Waldman. Since his name is already out there, we already know that he was a source that was communicated with. When you talk to Adam Waldman, you know what he did? He told you the entirety of truth, not the things that were flattering to JD. He didn't leave out substances. He didn't leave out other things. He answered the entirety of questions. And if you look at this, for hearing transcripts, look at all of these filed under seal. 10/1/2021 filed under seal. 10/8/2021 filed under seal. 1/7/2022, 1/26/2022, and so on. You have so many items that are going to be suppressed in this because the public, oh, how dare they want to know the truth about what went on. Now, a great example of why hearings matter, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I do want to make this example, is how charitable donations came into the fray, because AH's team said, oh, they came in like a battering ram. They tried to force something to happen. Nah, judges got tired of that talking point. That simply wasn't true, and that comes through in the transcripts. Here, for example, you have AH's team saying, JD, they should have used less intrusive means to try to gather this information. The court said, I don't understand what you mean about less intrusive means. Your client is objecting to turning over anything at all. I have other counsel that would just turn over things like that. They would give a copy of the check, any emails about it. Let's not bother the children's hospital. So what is a less intrusive mean? You're saying that they need to go to Virginia. They need to push it in that court, right? They're like, yeah, that's what I mean. And the court, they vehemently disagree. And we wouldn't know anything about this without the very files that they want to shut down. Now, losing access to the court filings is bad enough because it tells you the story of what happened behind the scenes in the courtroom. But even worse than that are depositions, because depositions, They tell you how you ended up in the courtroom in the first place. They're the stories of the major players, some of the principal stories that ended up creating a narrative that destroyed somebody. And some of these folks filed under seal. Yeah, that should never, ever happen. Now, some of the people that they don't want you to have access to are major co-conspirators in what transpired behind closed doors. You have Josh Drew, for example. Josh Drew, major co-conspirator with AH. This is the guy that says that he knew about everything that was going on. He was taking pictures. He was hearing tales. There are major fundamental flaws in his story. I'd like to hear the entirety of what he had to say. Some of that stuff, it is salacious as well. We definitely know that. There are portions that she doesn't want to go into the public because you'll get to hear about the affairs. You get to hear about the threesomes and on. Yeah, they don't want that coming out. And it comes directly from Josh Drew's mouth. You have other people too. People like Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington had major flaws in her story. This was the best friend of AH. She says in that last encounter, she ended up there between JD and AH. JD says, hey, she was hiding in a closet. She was waiting to ambush me. Raquel says, nah, I came from my penthouse. I ran to the door. I didn't have a key. I ran back, got one. The only problem with that is you had a security team out there, and there are other stories with gaping holes in them like that, and we don't even get to hear the entirety of those tales. You have other folks too, people like Io Tillett Wright. Io Tillett Wright was so unbelievable in what they had to say, and they knew it, that they threatened to sue YouTubers in the beginning. One YouTuber in specifically, you had Incredibly Average. They threatened to shut Incredibly Average down. Why? Because Incredibly Average exposed some of their lies. I can only imagine what their newer depos they actually detail there, because that stuff, oh, it would be prime for the picking. Then you have the power players in this, the co-conspirators at the ACLU level. That's who Anthony Romero are. Anthony Romero, you're not supposed to get to hear everything that he has to say, despite, again, those folks, they sat down, they drafted this op-ed with her. Basically, they should be sued too. Yeah, but you're not supposed to hear everything that went on. Yeah, AH and her team, they keep telling you again and again that there are truths out there you didn't get to see, items that were buried. Well, what you're finding out is these things, they weren't buried by the courtroom. They were buried by people like AH. I watched this play out in its entirety. They wanted to suppress all types of items when it came to you. They wanted them in the court, but not in the court of public opinion. Why? Because they knew if this entire story came out, yeah, that win that JD saw in the courtroom, it wouldn't just be there. It would look just like what you saw in the court of public opinion too. Anyway, we're going to see how this stuff plays out, but let me know what you think about it. There's a lot to it as well. But yeah, appreciate you being here. Excuse my voice again. It'll be back totally in 2 days or so, but appreciate you folks. I'm going to end here. Thank you. See you soon.